and welcome to Morning Brew. It is Wednesday. Wow, this week is weird. Wednesday, the 12th of April, 2023. Thank you for joining me here on the show. We've got Cathal is there already. We've got also Councillor Dan Jordan. We've got the Freckle Puny. We've got David, and we've got Tim, and we've got number 3 on the line. How you doing? Watching from afar. So, it's the silly season, isn't it? It really is the silly season. I told you yesterday that the BBC dedicated about 10 minutes to a guy who owned a dog. Yeah. So today someone has got a book out. I'm like watching the TV before I do this, going, I need to talk about something, and there needs to be something for me to talk about for the show, and you kind of hope that something's major that has happened. But the big things, I guess, there's 3 things, right? First of all, Elon Musk, which I don't really want to talk about because I feel like he's ruined Twitter and everything else. But he did an interview with the BBC last night in the wee small hours for some reason, in which he said he shouldn't tweet after 3 a.m. Yeah, great. He also says that it's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's not been easy. Oh, my heart bleeds. My heart bleeds, Elon. Elon, my heart bleeds. This is a man who has backed up to the tune of $44 billion to buy Twitter and run it into the ground. And that's been his job for the last 6 months. And he's doing a really good job. He says he's breaking even. He's just about breaking even. I don't know if he's being disingenuous, if he's just a pathological liar, but it's not. Like, let me just say, it's really not. It's not looking good for the old Bird app. A lot of the advertisers have pulled out, and the release of Twitter Blue couldn't be more of a disaster if it possibly tried. And someone pointed out that getting these very famous, wealthy celebrities to create content for your website for free is worth a lot of money in its own right. Charging them $8 a month to pay for that privilege is something that I don't think a lot of celebrities are really interested in doing. Substack Notes came online yesterday, which is offering to be a new version of Twitter, perhaps, maybe. Obviously, Elon's a little bit rattled about this, and it's one of the reasons why Substack has been taken. Substack links have been disabled off Twitter. But the reality is, I had a bit of a look at it yesterday, and it doesn't have the same functionality as Twitter. I can't believe that no one has yet just taken the code of Twitter and just made a new site. That's exactly Twitter, just with a different name, and base it in a country that doesn't care about copyright, etc., etc. We got Plum Duff there as well, saying, "Is everyone all right?" There are many ads for dodgy adverts now. Yeah, Twitter today is worth half of what Musk paid for it. I think it was worth that when he bought it, though. That was part of the joke, wasn't it? He bought it for way over the odds, and everyone's like, "Oh, they saw you coming," like Sarah Vine going to a sausage roll shop. Anyway, so the other big thing in the news, I guess, is that President Biden is visiting Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland this week. He's having, I think, a 4-day tour. He arrived last night, and Kate Hoey, in a magnificent display of Dunning-Kruger effect, she was whinging about the fact that obviously, the President of the United States knows nothing about Irish history. This is the woman who wanted Brexit really badly, even though she knew apparently what it was going to do to the Good Friday Agreement and didn't care. Labour MP apparently didn't care. Yeah, and also she wanted to know why the motorway had to be closed for the president, and I'm just like, so let me get this straight. The President of the United States, who's one of the most well-protected people on the planet, is going to Northern Ireland, where over the weekend they found 4 pipe bombs in a graveyard that were put there by dissidents, apparently. Okay, so maybe they've got like a heightened sense of security. Maybe, I don't know. It just came across as this lady isn't very intelligent. What can I say? AB is there. I guess Twitter is worth more to him than just the money. Well, yeah, I was talking about this yesterday, wasn't I? Twitter is the only social media platform in which you can speak truth to power in a way that you cannot do on other platforms. You can't do it on Twitter, on Facebook, because that's just your mates, really. Unless you magically get followed or you follow a celebrity. It's not really the same thing. TikTok, there's no real two-way street going on there. I know some young TikTokers are doing quite well. Some celebrities are on TikTok now. You've got AOC is now on TikTok. You've got Karen Gillan on TikTok. So yeah, maybe you could send them a message and maybe they'll read it. But you're not going to have that back and forth that you can have on Twitter with somebody famous, maybe an author that you respect or whoever, or maybe someone that you just hate and you want to call names to, which is, fair enough if they put themselves out in the public realm and support Brexit or the Tory party. Fair game. But yeah, you can't really do it on YouTube for the same reason. Because, we're having a bit of a discussion here. You're writing stuff in. But how often does this happen with actual celebrities? They wouldn't do this every day. You wouldn't get politicians doing this every day where they sit down in front of a camera with a computer in front of them with your messages coming up on the computer. It just... Twitter was something, and you can't do that on the toilet. You can do Twitter on the toilet. And so for a long time, it was the only way that people like you and me could actually communicate with the elites, with the people who are actually running the world. And it was in the elite's interest to shut that down because they don't want to hear what we've got to say. They don't want to listen to you. They don't listen to me. I know they're going to listen to me. I get blocked quite often. But the fact is that the way that Twitter was set up, it was a useful tool of democracy, funnily enough, although it was abused. Not as much as Facebook, though, was abused in the run-up to the 2016 presidential election in America and also the 2016 Brexit referendum, in which thousands of Russian bots were set up just before the referendum, telling everyone to on Twitter not to vote to leave the EU, So yeah, problematic. There were things that needed to be solved, problems that need to be solved in Twitter. Hate speech needs to be jumped on. I wasn't happy with the fact that Twitter allowed pornography on Twitter. I'm not a Puritan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really not. But I thought that Twitter should be reserved for just chats and things like that. If I wanted to ogle naked people, there are plenty of sites that cater for that kind of thing. So yeah, that would have been my sort of change of the scene, I guess. I don't know, but it didn't transpire that way, did it? It turned out that that Musk wanted not to clean it up, not to get rid of the hate speech, not to get rid of the pornography. No, he just wanted to get rid of all the money and make users just not use it anymore. I mean, I still go on there now and again, but nowhere near as much as I used to, and the user count, which was already quite low. I think more people used Pinterest than regularly than Twitter. It was right down there. Unless more people used Instagram, more people used TikTok, more people used Facebook than Twitter. So it was never really one of the big social media platforms in the way that you might think it was. But it had an outsized voice because of all the celebs on it, because of all the politicians, because you could actually tweet to Donald Trump and call him all kinds of names, which I thought was fun. But, what do I know? Perhaps Twitter to Musk is what GBN and Talk TV is to their owners, lost leaders in order to get their owners' prejudice to the fore. Feckle Puny, you're not wrong. That is exactly what I believe it to be. Does TikTok pay? I thought it had no ads. No, I don't think. I don't know anyone who makes money out of TikTok. It's not very easy to do so. If you're going to try and make money out of videos, YouTube is the best way to do it, but you need pre-recorded stuff that's quite, swish. I don't know if I've got time. I do have to sleep at some point in my life. I need to start delegating responsibility for some of the shows on here to others. Last night I did a show with, I filmed a episode of Pubcast with Sefton Central MP Bill Esterson, Esquire. I thought, he said to me after, "Why do you call me Bill Esterson Esquire?" I said, "Because it's like Bill S. Preston Esquire from Bill," and he went, "Oh." Anyway, so I'm going to get that edited up and put online over the next few days. And joining us was also Matt Locke, who's Matt the Vac of Breakfast TV for some reason, who's a lad from, he went to Merchant Taylors, which is a posh school. Let's not go there, Graham. But he's now a Tory. He was a Tory. He was a Tory, and he saw the light a few years ago, and now he's joined the Labour Party, and he's actually a Labour councillor in Maghull. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. People are changing their allegiances, which is good, and I think it should be welcomed. I would rather have Conservatives joining Labour than people in Labour slagging off Labour and making people not want to vote Labour. Yeah, I'd also rather have people doing that than Labour making stupid statements like it did last week with reference to the Equalities and Human Rights Commission's willingness to redefine the Equalities Act of 2010. Yeah, not a great advert. For more information about that particular incident, I have a video on the Labour Party, the Labour Social. Nothing to do with the Labour Party, the Labour Social YouTube page, where I talked to trans activist Katie Montgomery, who was absolutely brilliant, very articulate and very succinct, and a lot better at this than I am. Let's put it that way. Okay, so finally, the third thing I want to talk about this morning. I was going to check your messages. Labour Social, call me a conspiracy theorist, but the Brexit vote was held mid-Euro 2016 tournament, and England were doing well, as I recall. I wonder if it piqued people's nationalism, etc. Maybe. Maghull, what colour are their bins? I don't think they have bins in Sefton, do they? When I used to live in Oval Park, the end of our street, I used to live on Moss Lane, and the end of our street was Sefton. It was where the metropolitan, area of Liverpool ended and Sefton began. So we had purple wheelie bins down our road, down Moss Lane, and then when it changed the name of the road, but it was the same road. Honestly, you could see the line, like the tarmac had been done up to a certain point, and then after that, it was all bin bags because there were no wheelie bins in Sefton. I think there probably are now, but that was a few years ago. Good morning from Pega, Devonshire. Sorry, Pangton, Devonshire, and good people's heathen socialist in the chat. Oh, good. I love a good heathen. Keep partying, dude. It's the spring. It's the spring. This is the time for heathens to frolic. Oh, yeah. The people are bins, says Alex. That's so random. I love it. Aye, nice round. Maghull way, to be fair. I don't know, Liam. I don't know. I'm a little bit prejudiced myself. Bad walls. Anyway. No, I didn't say that. That was a joke. Edit that bit. Edit. So the third story I wanted to speak about today. This is a report on the BBC website about COP28. Yes, there's been 28 Committee of Parties members get-togethers. Is it Committee of Parties? I think that's what it is. It's been 28 of them. Still no success. Anyway, so the headline is this: climate change, fossil fuel emissions from electricity set to fall. That's the report. Okay, the fossil fuel emissions from electricity set to fall. But then you read into the story, and it's not as good as it's kind of painted in the headline. We're using more electricity than ever. We need to cut down on the amount of electricity that we use, and every year we use more electricity. And as the climate changes, you're going to see people using even more electricity. When you have 50-degree days in the Middle East, you're going to have people obviously using more air conditioning. When you have freezing cold winters that last 10 months in the UK, because Liverpool is on pretty much the same line of latitude as Lake Baikal in Siberia. Yeah, it's only the Gulf Stream kind of keeping us warm, or whatever it's called. Don't at me with the correct terminology of the convection current that goes around the Atlantic Ocean. Just, you know what I mean. Let's just call it the Gulf Stream, because that's what everyone knows it as. Just call it the Gulf Stream. Yeah, it should be a lot colder in the UK than it actually is, all things being considered, because we're very, very far north. We're very close to the Arctic Circle, comparatively. We're closer than Tunisia, for instance. That might sound like a crazy thing to say, but we are on the same line of latitude. There's many cities in Canada that freeze over for 6 months of the year. And yeah, like I say, Siberia. So we should be a lot colder than we actually are. And as that Gulf Stream, the convection flow in the water, which has a special name that someone's going to tell me in a moment in the chat, as it slows down, we're going to get colder. And as we get colder, we're going to use more energy to try and keep warm. And as we have the least insulated homes in like the world, that's a bit of a problem. But don't worry, the Tory government is here. It's here. It's here, guys, to make our lives so much better by providing insulation for 1% of homes. 1%. And 99% of homes ain't getting anything towards the insulation, which is the quickest, cheapest, and easiest way to reduce people's energy bills, reduce their electricity usage, reduce their energy usage. But we don't want to do that. So even though there is more electricity being used, which is bad, there's been an upsurge in the amount of electricity coming online from wind, wind, solar, hydroelectric, and nuclear. However, last year, a lot of French nuclear power stations were offline. There were some problems in the supply chains, etc., etc. So things didn't go quite the way we would like them to have. And don't forget, there is still the Tory NIMBY rule that you can't really build an onshore wind turbine in the UK. Thanks for that, Tories. Looking after us, looking out for number one. They've got subsidies. They've got subsidies for North Sea oil and gas. They've got subsidies for them. They've got subsidies for these companies that are posting record profits. They're getting subsidies from you and me, from the taxpayer. They're getting subsidies. But yeah, we're not allowed to have wind turbines on our own land in the UK. So if you're a farmer and you want a wind turbine to power your farm and charge up your electric tractor, not that they exist, but maybe they do. No, you can't have that. Sorry. You have to put the 50 miles offshore and dog a bank. Because reasons. Squire, who invented migraines? I'm not going to strangle them because I don't want to get banned off another platform. That's from Duke Vengeance. I'm sorry you suffer from migraines. That must be really quite rough. I'm sorry about that, mate. One angry pagan says, why are people calling Starmer a Tory in all but name? Is he, or is it just because he's not far left as many socialists would prefer? I think it's the second one. And I'll say this in every episode of this show that I do, I think, because it's just going to end up getting said. Have a think about who's going to be easier for people like you and me and Alex Jones and anyone else to influence once they're in power. The Tories? Are you a millionaire? No, forget about it. Or Labour. If we have forums set up, if we have meetings set up with our local MPs, if we have ways of talking to Labour MPs, I'm sure there is more of a two-way dialogue to be had than we have currently with the Tories, and therefore that means that with a Labour government you would have more accessibility. And also, do you think that Labour will get away with half of the crimes of the Tory party? Do you think the Murdoch press would let them get away with it? Do you think that the Barclay Brothers press would turn a blind eye? Do you think Lord Rothermere would be sitting there going, hey, don't put this in the Daily Mail. Do not put this misdemeanor in the Daily Mail. Don't put it in there. Just leave them alone. Just leave those nice Labour people alone. Yeah, all right, yeah. So you've got more accessibility and more accountability. So at the moment, I feel like policy and things like that and the stuff that Labour are saying, obviously, we talked about this last week with Katie Montgomery. We both found the rhetoric around the redefinition of gender in the Equalities Act of 2010 that's been mooted by the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, and the Tories have obviously trumpeted this because, as Lee Anderson said a few months ago, I think it was him or the other one, the ape guy, the howler monkey, I've forgotten his name now, Gullis. It was one of the two. They're kind of interchangeable, do you know what I mean? They're a bit like Tobey Maguire and Jake Gyllenhaal. They play each other. I wouldn't notice. Anyway, he said he let the cat in the bag. He said we don't have Boris anymore. We don't have Brexit. We're going to fight the next election on asylum seekers and transgender rights. Yeah, culture wars. Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't I invent a problem? Because there's not enough problems in the world. Let's invent a problem, and then we will tell you that we will solve the problem that we caused. It's the Tory way. The Tory sewage party. Bring it. I feel like I'm doing one of those honest adverts from the Juice Media from Australia, which I love. I think he means Alex Jones, the Welsh presenter of the One Show, not Alex Jones, the far right. Owen, sorry, did I say Alex? Owen Jones. Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I did that yesterday. I said Burma, and I watched it back and I went, oh my God, it's Burma. I meant Brunei. Why did it say Burma? Oh, they're both in Southeast Asia. Okay, they both begin with B. All right, it was early. They both begin with BU, I guess, but Burma and Burundi. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? But Brunei, no, it's not BU, is it? BR for Brunei. Oh, see what I mean? See what I mean? This is why, brains don't work this time of the morning. We should still be asleep. As Liam North says, all right, cheers, still half asleep. Sorry, I mean Alex. When I said that, I meant Owen Jones. Owen Jones. That makes more sense. Yes, thanks, Aeon. Oh, never mind. If you listen to Alex Jones, you need your head testing. Indeed, yes. I think so. It's either American. He's the horrible American one, isn't he? He does InfoWars. Is that him? Gobshite. Anyway, so yeah. So they were the three things in the news today, really. The interview with Elon Musk was covered by other news outlets as well as the BBC. But they did a live thing about it, which was a bit weird. It was like an interview and they're discussing it live. I don't know if the interview's still going on now. I don't know. And obviously it's a major security operation as President Biden visits Northern Ireland. And and Kate Howie doesn't know why the roads were shut. She can't work it out. Kate Howie. Classic Brexiteer, Dunning-Kruger writ large. Also, there was a bit of news coming out of these leaks, I think, from America, these Pentagon leaks, saying that the chances of Ukraine winning in the war is diminishing every day, and Russia looks like it's going to get air supremacy. Or air superiority, one of the two. And it just seems a bit odd. Who's stolen this data? Who's put it onto Discord? Why has this happened? I don't know. It all seems a bit rum to me. I've made the same mistake between Alex and Owen Jones, says Richard. Yeah, but not live on a live stream. And everyone just looks at you now and is like, "Oh, Graham, what are you doing? What are you even doing?" So in other things in the news, Tupperware. Plastic containers, apparently they're facing bankruptcy. And there's a video from America showing the US police under fire from the bank gunman. I don't know if that's the one that caused the mass shooting the other day. There's so many shootings in America, it all blurs into one hideous carnage. And there's been a civil settlement reached over the Grenfell fire claims. I mean, the reaction, the fact that Grenfell happened, the reaction to it, and the fact that there are so many people living in this country now who are trapped in their flats that they can't sell, that have flammable cladding on the flats, and the government's done nothing about it. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, the other side of the world, they saw what happened in Grenfell and went, "Stroof, mate, we've got to sort this out." And that was terrible, Graham. I'll never do an Australian accent again. He said, "Stroof, mate, he's got to sort this out." And they went over to they went around every building that had this kind of flammable cladding on it and got rid of the flammable cladding. That's what they did in Australia. Not here though. No, not in England. No, why would you do that in England? The migrants has got me stuck in attack mode. Indeed, could be subterfuge leaked on purpose for secret strategy. Who knows? Yeah, maybe. That's quite good, actually. Lure them into a false sense of security. Yeah, you're doing really well, Russia. Yeah, ignore those reports that show all your tanks have been blown up. Over 1,000 tanks destroyed. Well over 1,000 tanks destroyed. It's kind of painful that, like, I don't know. There was a clip the other day of Putin giving a speech, and at the end he went da 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 da, and expected to get this rousing round of applause, I think, and no one clapped. It was kind of painful. Yeah. Hopefully he's on his way out. Tories have done a really good job intoxifying politics and public debate. Little balance and so many running to be extremes on either side. A real plan needs to be democratically made and pushed for. Yeah, and that's what I'd like to hear from more MPs and leaders in all parties, is this end of the kind of ideologically driven drivel, which a lot of the time ideologies, yeah, okay, whatever, people have them, but what's practical in real life? What's a way of making this stuff work? But you got these people who are like, "Oh, I'm a communist." I'm like, "Okay, good." And then you got people who go, "Oh, you know what? I'm a capitalist. I believe in the market." And I'm like, both of those ideologies fail to take into account human greed. They're both two cheeks of the same arse. And We need something in the middle. We need something that's not communism, where someone who is a neurosurgeon gets paid the same as someone who sweeps the streets. But also, we need a version of capitalism that doesn't have billionaires. But who needs to be a billionaire? That's it. Once you're earning over £1 billion a year, that is 100% tax. Let's say 99% tax. You can keep 1% of it. So invest it in stuff. Spend the money on wise things. Don't buy a bloody super yacht. Who needs a super yacht? Honestly, answer this question now. Who needs a super yacht? Genuinely. I mean, if you want to be a sea gypsy, that's fine. You can buy yourself a little sailboat and sail around the world forever. I don't mind. But a super yacht? No. Nobody needs a super yacht. Nobody needs a private plane. There are planes that go everywhere around the world. You do not need a private plane. That's completely surplus to requirements, especially if you live in the US or you live in the UK or in Europe. You don't need a private plane. There are other ways of getting places without having to have a private plane. The fact that those things exist show a failure of capitalism, show a failure of capitalist ideology. And this is why I would rather have MPs, politicians on all sides, instead of telling us what we want and what the will of the people is, declaring it and then saying, yes, everyone agrees with me, this is definitely the will of the people. No. What I want to see is politicians saying to us, what do you want? Listening to us, talking to us, having a two-way conversation, which is part of the reason why I've set up Labour Social, to try and initiate this two-way conversation. So it's not just an advert saying blah, 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 to no response. No one's reading your responses. No one's reading your messages back about that advert or about that policy or about what they want to do. And politics in the 21st century has the technology to be a two-way street, a forum for discussion on all things, and yet we don't have that. Isn't that a little bit wrong? Don't you think? I think that, they have the MP surgeries. We need to have town hall meetings, and we can have them online as well. So people who can't leave the home can be included in these meetings, have them on Zoom, and let people have their say, bring up issues. And another thing that I'll never tire of going on about is a lot of MPs who I've spoken to, I've pointed something out to them, and they've said to me, oh, no one's ever mentioned that before. And I'm like, I'm not asking for a job. I'm not saying, hey, you know what, I should be a policy advisor. I don't think I should be. But at least I'm having a conversation with you, with other people, about what would work and what we could do in the future and make this country, make this world a better place. Leave a better place, leave a better planet for our children than the one that we inherited from our parents. That's the least we can do. But at the moment, we're going to hell in a handcart because, I don't know, Michael Jordan's trainers have just sold for 2.2 million. So, yeah, capitalism. Social capitalism. Everyone with a connection to the building industry and a brain knew that the installation is dangerous. Remember the New Year's Eve hotel fire? Yeah. But then again, you're putting people in the building industry together with people with a brain. And maybe they do have a brain for money. But yeah, maybe the question you should be asking is, do they have a heart? And I think the answer to that is no. I can't believe that when I started this cast this morning, I'm in Liverpool at the moment, and I'm looking out the window in front of me, and it was a blue sky when I started this, and it is now absolutely black out the back. We're heading for a storm. I can see the trees sort of swaying menacingly here in in Liverpool town, in East Liverpool. I need a super yacht, says Liam North. You're not giving me a reason why you need one, Liam. You just need one. Actually, the Russians have lost over 2,000 tanks, says Vaco Puny. Wow. Which is, do you know what? I love it when people correct you and it makes it better. It's like, I thought it was only 1,000. It's 2,000. Brilliant. Which is why they're using old T55s and T64s from the reserves, getting on for 60 years old. Oh my God. Do they still work? I need a super yacht, so when I can take over the world, I can tour my new planet. You can just do it on a normal boat. You don't need a super yacht. Like the sailboats, they're great. They're green. They're so woke, it's painful. Socialism with populism at its core. Rather have that now, which is built from either monopolistic or I guess that's atheistic social, cultural bases, at least in the north and west and east, i.e. Russia, China, etc. Yeah, I mean, the idea that we have this unbridled capitalism always leads to the destruction of capitalism. What destroys capitalism is capitalism. You know, like pop will eat itself. Well, capitalism will always eat itself. You need to have regulations put in by a higher body to regulate the market. Otherwise, one company will always take over all the others and then pay its workers nothing and then charge its customers through the roof because they're a monopoly. See our water companies at the moment in the UK, which are monopolies, which are owned mostly by foreign companies. And they just dump loads of sewage in our rivers, you know, because our children swimming in slurry is the future that we wanted. It's the future that we paid for. I went shopping. Bam! Was lovely and sunny. Bit crisp though. Yeah, in Huyton, mate. Getting a bit overcast. It is indeed. It is indeed. I'm just down the road from Huyton. I'm not far from there. I used to swim in Huyton Leisure Centre as a kid. It's gone now. It's probably a housing estate or something. Oh, I don't know. Right. Anyway, so I've just given you a little bit of a roundup of what's going on today. I just think I should concentrate on 3 big stories. Although I don't think Elon Musk should be a big story because I don't really care about him, but I do care about what he's doing to Twitter, which is, upsetting to say the least. Okay, so I'm going to go now. Remember to get some ID so you can vote in the upcoming elections because the Tories don't want you to. Capitalism broke capitalism. Graham in Spain, we say greedy broke the bag. Yes, put too much stuff in the bag, you'll break it. That's a good expression, that, actually. I've been looking at the Russian new tank and it's absolute trash, apparently. That's some juke. Polytheists are absolute in their thinking, lol. Yeah, damn those polytheists. And their sun gods. Okay, listen, lived in Roby for a year. Oh, I'm sorry. Joke. Roby's nice, I guess. At least once a year. Anyway, so I'm going to be back to... Oh, no, I've got some interesting news for you. You know, I was talking about delegating stuff on this channel. I'm not doing this tomorrow. I'm not doing Morning Brew. You've got another host who's doing it tomorrow, a guy by the name of Phil Morehouse from a different bias. He's going to be hosting this live tomorrow morning at 9:30. I'm going to be producing, so I will be here behind the scenes and I'll be able to respond to any of your comments in the comments. But Phil will be hosting, all being well. This is going to be our test run and prototype, and we're going to see how it goes. But Phil is very much up for helping get Labour Social off the ground. And so he'll be here tomorrow for Morning Brew. And so I might not see you until after the weekend, because if it goes well tomorrow, he'll do Friday as well. So I'll be back on Monday. So please tune in tomorrow at 9:30 and give Phil all the love and support that you can, because I think this is his first time of doing something like this where he's going live and just having your comments to deal with and talking off the cuff about what's going on in the news. And Phil is great. Yes, I know, David. Phil is brilliant. He's better at this than I am. But, you know, it's hard to get the staff these days. So I'm really excited about that. So tune in for Morning Brew tomorrow at 9:30. And until then, I'll say thank you so much to all of my wonderful patrons, my YouTube members. If you want to become a patron, if you want to become a matron of this channel, if you want to become a patron of this channel, head over to patreon.com/Labour Social, and you'll be able to find the different tiers there. If you are already a patron, it's a list of patrons about to come on the page. Don't worry about it. You will get all the access that you could ever require to all of the Labour Social stuff that is going online over the next month. So it might be good for Phil to get out of his comfort zone. And we've got 100 messages. That seems like a good time to call it a morning. So I'll see you very soon. And until then, thanks for the messages. Thanks for all the love and support. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.